Alright, let's talk about the elephant in the room. Michael B. Jordan began acting in 1999 at the age of 12, starting with small roles in The Cosby Show and The Sopranos. Now, at age 34, he's one of the biggest actors in Hollywood and a household name. He's been a part of a number of successful franchises and some unsuccessful ones. And let's not forget, he looks like this. He looks like this. Good for him. But here's the thing. Sometimes talking about his acting prowess can be very polarizing.
I was a prophetess who became leprous, white as snow for a short time. Who am I?
So I selflessly created a 12-film lineup of Michael B. Jordan movies and watched them all to answer this question. Is Michael B. Jordan a good actor?
So my question to you is this. I want your raw, unfiltered opinion.
Do I think that Michael B. Jordan is a good actor? I mean, don't get me wrong, he's had some good roles.
Like what?
Like Killmonger. I don't think they really could have got anybody else to portray him like that. And then in Fruitvale Station. But those were the only two.
Do you know who Michael B. Jordan is?
I do know Michael B. Jordan.
Is Michael B. Jordan a good actor?
Depending on the roles, I would say yes.
I split these films into 3 sections with 4 films in each. I'm not covering his television roles or very early film roles for 4 reasons. 1, his earliest roles are pretty inconsequential at this point. 2, I feel like each film marks a sort of milestone in his growth between projects, as well as how he handles different casts, subject matter, tones, etc. Watching his entire run on Friday Night Lights would be watching him progress across several years, rather than judging him in the moment. 3, I feel like he's primarily a film actor now. And 4, I don't want to be here forever. We'll go through the plot of each film, discuss Jordan's role, and whether or not he understood the assignment.
Don't take my scoring of these movies as me saying there's no reason to like them. I enjoyed watching all these films, except one. I've actually seen one of them like 10 times. I just love watching it, even though it's just not that great. Movies can be ruined by so many things, many of which the actors have no control over. So this was just a fun video in between the videos about heavier and more research-based topics that I do. Also, Michael B. Jordan as Pretty Boy Flizzy is an underrated performance. Like, super underrated.
I swear on my abs. On my abs, nigga.
It was just another day in the hood until the lights went out.
Blackout came out in 2007 and was Jordan's first film as an adult. The film is about the tenants of a New York City building during a large-scale summer blackout. The film stars Zoe Saldana, Melvin Van Peebles, Sean Blakemore, Jeffrey Wright, Jamie Hector, LaTanya Richardson Jackson, and Prodigy of Mobb Deep. The cast is stacked, but a lot of them have nothing to do. Wright spends most of his time at a barbershop cracking jokes, and Richardson Jackson's character is barely in it at all. At times, the film seems like a knockoff barbershop, but the message still shines through and is communicated in a way that isn't too obvious. Jordan plays CJ, a high school student that just received a full-ride scholarship to Penn State. He works part-time at a clothing store, and because of that, he's fresh as fuck. Everyone in the building knows and loves him. He's polite, helpful, and hardworking. When a character named Rashid gets out of jail and robs CJ's store during the blackout, CJ accidentally says Rashid's name. Rashid finds CJ later and stabs him for not giving him his jersey. CJ dies alone on the doorstep of the apartment building. Overall, this is a compelling performance from Jordan. He seems like a nice guy, so it's not hard for him to be convincing in this role. His death scene is particularly powerful, and the blood streak that he leaves behind is striking. I wouldn't say 10 out of 10, but I would say 6 out of 10.
I just ask if you could please put me on your list.
Pastor Brown is a story about a woman that comes back home when her father gets sick. His dying wish is for her to take over as the church's new pastor. Like Blackout, this film has a lot of great talent and doesn't know what to do with them. Sally Richardson, Nicole R.E. Parker, Rockman Dunbar, Tasha Smith, Keith David, Michael Beach, Dondre Whitfield, Keisha Campbell, and Ernie Hudson are all in the film, and though they don't have much to work with, they all do their best. Jordan plays Tariq, a high school student. He's having a hard time accepting his mother back into his life. This performance was weaker than Blackout. The script tries to create these emotionally complex moments for Tariq, but they fall short because the line delivery is only surface level.
Tall.
Yeah, well, that's what happens to kids when you haven't seen them in a long time, right? Good one. Mom.
Tariq.
Look, just because Grandpa's gone doesn't mean I'm gonna come running to you.
Hey, man, my mama told me put her in the pulpit, be like, throwing mud on the Auntie.
The script also doesn't allow him to develop much. He's mad at his mom for leaving, and then in the next scene, he's not. I give it a 4 out of 10.
We know that it's part of your master plan that we've made it all the way from Tuskegee here to Ramatelli. We are very confident in our abilities, but we ask that you give us the vision, the sight, and the speed and power to make it through this mission.
Red Tails is a movie about a very small group of the Tuskegee Airmen and showcases a couple of missions as well as a bit of their interpersonal conflict. Like our first 2 films, this one has a lot of recognizable faces. Nate Parker, David Oyelowo, Cooligan Jr., Terrence Howard, Tristan Wiles, Elijah Kelly, Leslie Odom Jr., Andre Warrio, Method Man, Kevin Phillips, Marcus D. Polk, Bryan Cranston, and Neo. And I honestly could have done without Neo.
Don't pay no mind, boy. Look, my name's Smokey. This is Neon, this Joker.
But I digress. Overall, I like this movie, but I would love for a film or television series to take a deep dive into the Tuskegee Airmen, because this film didn't even graze the work that they did. But it was still an entertaining watch. Jordan plays Flight Officer Maurice Bumps Wilson, the newest arrival to their base in Italy, but he's barely in the film. I want to say he has 3 or 4 scenes. However, while he is on screen, he's fine. So, 5 out of 10.
This week in my room, I'm just that much stronger. Even last night, I got my whole bed off the ground. No nosebleed.
Chronicle is a movie about 3 teenagers who get superpowers after interacting with a mysterious force. The film is in found footage style, and I think it lends itself really well to the storyline. Jordan plays a popular, charismatic student named Steve Montgomery. He's smart and liked by everyone, and I believe he's the class president. The entire film is done very well and realistically depicts a male teenage friendship. Due to the style of the film and the acting, it's easy to suspend belief and feel like you're a part of the group. It feels like you've gotten to know and befriend these boys. When Steve died, I spent the rest of the movie wanting it to be a joke. It was evident that something was missing from their friendship dynamic, and chaos quickly ensued because he was gone. I feel like this character mirrors how Michael B. Jordan comes across in most of his interviews. Very accomplished, very ambitious, very hardworking, but humble. Jordan was really great in this film, and it's one of my favorite roles of his. 8 out of 10.
She's a singer. Everyone's looking at her.
Not the way you're looking at her.
Relax. Just watching her sing.
Hotel Noir is another film that doesn't give the cast much to work with. It's hard to tell whether this film is a satire noir film or not because it literally makes no sense. But the cinematography, the lighting, all of that stuff looks really nice. I couldn't tell you the plot or the motivations of the characters, so we'll just skip ahead. Jordan plays Leon, who is in the movie for all of 10 minutes. Fun fact, this film is nowhere to be found on his Wikipedia page. Maybe because they know that it's some bullshit. The whole time he talks in weird 20s slang that doesn't seem to fit his tone of voice or character.
The correct answer is Miriam. I scoot on over tits.
It just sounds unnatural. He plays a cook or something that talks in riddles and tries to use a riddle to persuade one of the characters to fuck him, and then she doesn't, and then he's gone. That's it. I don't know. It's dumb and a waste of talent. 2 out of 10.
We played freeze tag today.
Really? Did you win?
They couldn't catch me.
Think you fast, huh?
Fruitvale Station is a biographical drama of 22-year-old Oscar Grant's last day. Oscar Grant was a man killed by police at Fruitvale Station in Oakland in 2009. I'd seen this film once several years ago, but kind of blocked it out because its contents are so triggering. It works to humanize Grant and by extension all police brutality victims. Jordan's performance is great. After all, this is the film that he was really known for prior to Creed.
So you gonna leave me? You gonna leave me again? What kind of mom is you? You gonna fuck around and leave me in here? You ain't never had my fucking back anyway.
Hey, Ma, hold up. Let me get a hug, Ma.
Grant,
hey, Ma, I can't get a hug.
back to the visiting area,
Hey,
Grant.
Ma, I'm sorry,
Grant.
Ma. Fuck out of here. Ma, I'm sorry. Let me just get a hug, Ma.
and it established his close relationship with writer and director Ryan Coogler. I didn't make it all the way through this film this time, like I said, it was a little too triggering for me. However, I would say I got 4/5 of the way through. I felt such a strong connection to Oscar Grant. There have been so many Oscar Grants in my life, fucking up because it seems impossible not to, trying to get a job after doing time, balancing all kinds of personal and familiar responsibilities, feeling embarrassed at their inability to do things successfully. Jordan does a great job in this role, and it's not hard to see yourself reflected on screen, even if the things that you have in common with Oscar Grant were minimal. His portrayal is so honest. 10 out of 10.
Hey, you guys want a mint?
That's a weird mint, dude.
It's because it's a boner pill.
That awkward moment is about 3 friends who make a pact to stay single, and then they don't stay single. This movie is nothing innovative, but I like it for what it is. Jordan plays Mikey, a young doctor who got married at 23. He's a nice and pretty clueless guy. This is one of the only comedic roles in Jordan's career, and it's a nice change of pace. We don't really see him do any doctor stuff, so aside from that aspect, the character is believable, I guess. However, the portrayal is nothing groundbreaking, but I still think it's funny, so 6 out of 10.
Fantastic Four.
Absolute hot.
Okay, I agree.
Fantastic Four is about the Fantastic Four. This is the second cinematic version of the superhero story, and it's not the one that audiences prefer. Jordan plays Johnny Storm, also called the Human Torch in other movies and the comics. He's brilliant, but desires a life separate from the expectations of his father and sister. This film leaves a lot to be desired in most areas. There's a lot of talent on screen, but they don't have much to do. It's almost like there's a theme here. It's clear that Jordan is trying to make something happen, but the script doesn't give him the opportunity to do much in terms of character development. He's the last of the group we meet, and it seems like we spend the least amount of time with him. He's mad at his dad, and then he's not, and then he is, and then his dad is dead. It's a very just inconsistent character, but the entire movie's inconsistent. I think he would have been great in this if the script was better and the film was better and everything else was better. Fantastic 4 out of 10.
Your daddy died in the ring. This ain't no joke.
I don't know him. Ain't got nothing to do with me.
Oh, okay. You real tough now.
Yup.
Nah, I ain't training you. You know I ain't training. Ain't nobody training you. I'm gonna make sure about that.
Creed is another one of my favorites from Jordan. I have some criticisms of the films thus far, mostly that they didn't show us why Donnie is so passionate about fighting. Like, he doesn't want to live in his dad's shadow and he spent most of his adolescence fighting, so why does he continue to do it? I feel like the scene with Mary Ann in the first Creed provided a great opportunity to get some clarity on that, but it didn't happen. I mean, I might just be missing something. Anyway, Jordan does a great job as Donnie. Roles like this seem to be where he excels. Movies that are realistic, not fantasy or historical, but these almost biographical films. He seems like such a real person with real issues and real, albeit ineffective, ways of dealing with this trauma. His relationships are so realistic and palatable. I really like his chemistry with Tessa Thompson. His scenes with her seem to come across as the most genuine to me. There are some lines that I don't like this one.
Kill it, all right? Yeah, kill it, all right, little dude. You miss a meal? Nah.
But I think that's just me. Plus, there are tons of great lines and tangible, intimate moments that make up for this one. 9 out of 10. All right, let's talk about Black Panther. I'll skip going over the plot because I know you saw it. I don't want to make anyone upset, but I didn't really like his portrayal of Eric Killmonger. I actually wrote this article about his death scene a little after the movie came out, and people rage read it, which is why it has so many reads. It's ridiculous. But it goes much further than that. Most of the characters have like one line that I can make fun of because I think it's delivered weird or because it's a dated meme or something like that. But for Killmonger, much of his line delivery is not pleasing.
But you ain't checking for what you put in your body.
Just bury me in the ocean with my ancestors that jumped from the ships.
Your weapons.
Well, maybe your home's the ones that's lost.
Indingo and Jadaka! Unyanaka and Jobu!
Because they knew death was better than bondage.
I think this creator, Auntie, does a great job summing up my feelings about this.
Eric Killmonger is supposed to be like this guy that graduated from MIT that was a CIA agent that was supposed to be really smooth. And a lot of Michael B. Jordan's lines, including just that first one where he was in the museum, seemed kind of forced, to be honest. It didn't feel like he was really connected to this character. All I was thinking the whole time while watching him was, Michael B. Jordan, Michael B. Jordan, Michael B. Jordan. I didn't really feel that he was even a real threat, which is not just Michael B. Jordan's fault for the acting, but maybe also just the screenplay or how his character was written. His delivery just felt really flat because he was angry the whole time. I felt like the group of thugs that Batman always beats up in the beginning of the movie. And I get it, a lot of American blacks feel like he stole the show because of how relatable the concept of his character is. The concept of his character is great. That character is super relatable to a lot of American blacks that live in inner cities, that feel like an outsider, that feel isolated by sub-Saharan African communities. So it makes sense that people can feel much closer to this character than they can to the actual Black Panther.
Obviously, he did a great job embodying this character physically. I can just look at him and tell that he's strong-minded, strong-willed, radical, and does not give a fuck. However, his line delivery could use some work. The entire movie kind of has this corny edge to it, like all Marvel movies do, so that's just par for the course. But I think the reason I don't love Killmonger's portrayal is because he's so radical and the portrayal doesn't match. If you think about Age of Ultron, Ultron is funny and witty, but Killmonger is not. He's stoic, he's serious, he's about that action. So I expected his lines to hit harder and be more impactful because he has no time for sarcasm or jokes or wasted time. But a lot of the time I feel like the lines didn't have as much passion behind them as I would have wanted. However, I simultaneously felt like Jordan was overacting in his attempt to bring Killmonger to life. I feel like he was trying too hard, and I love this movie, but I didn't like this role. 5 out of 10. I'm sorry.
I'd like to ask you that question one more time. Was the testimony that you gave at Walter McMillan's trial true?
No, sir.
Just Mercy follows attorney Brian Stevenson in his attempt to free Walter Johnny D. McMillan and Herbert Richardson from death row. Jamie Foxx is amazing as Johnny D because of course he is, and Rob Morgan does a great job as Herbert. That being said, I think Jordan's portrayal of Stevenson is a bit flat. However, it seemed like the film was less about Stevenson and more about his work. Aside from establishing a bit of his background and his compassion for others, we don't know much else about him, but it seems like this is on purpose. It seems like he wasn't the focus of the film, his work was the focus. Similarly to the cases in the film, also, this was based on Stevenson's book, so I'm assuming a lot had to be cut out. This is another theme in a few of Jordan's films. Bearing this in mind, I thought Jordan was good in this role.
Oh, you messed up when they sent the motorcade. Buddy, they're gonna write songs about all the shit you messed up.
Speaking of books, Without Remorse is not good. Oh, it's so bad. It's based on a novel of the same name by Tom Clancy and follows Senior Chief John Kelly on his revenge mission to kill the man that killed his wife and unborn daughter. It very soon turns into a mission to expose the American government for orchestrating terrorist events to give the American people a common enemy. Kelly is supposed to be this amazing Navy SEAL that defies all the odds, but I don't know if I really buy that. The action scenes are fine though. The prison cell scene is really great, and this scene with Jordan and Jodie Turner-Smith is probably my favorite in the film. It's really enjoyable to watch, their relationship dynamic. But honestly, that's it. Jordan is angry. That's his character. Given when he finds his wife's body, we see a bit of complexity in his emotions. Not only is he barely clinging to life and angry with himself for not killing the final man that invaded his home, he's devastated at his discovery. But after that, he's mad. I talked about this film with one of my friends, and he said he felt like John Kelly and Killmonger were the same character. I wouldn't go that far, but I can see where he's coming from, and I'll talk about that more later. In Jordan's defense, he doesn't have much to work with, and neither do the other actors. Since this was adapted from the book, like Just Mercy, there was a lot cut out. That's sort of inevitable when adapting such a large text into a shorter medium. However, at points, it's really difficult to tell what's even happening. It seems like we just bounce around from event to event. Also, a lot of the lines aren't that great, and so the line delivery isn't that great either.
Oh, baby, I was just about to bring it to you. No. Who the hell is Victor Rykoff? I took my baby girl before she got a chance to take a breath. They weren't just contractors. They were Russian military.
Man, I think this was so cool in premise. I love a revenge mission. Oh my goodness, but this just did not hit for me. 2 out of 10.
This is all you need to know. Anything else will make you sick, crazy. And that's why we're here.
I didn't include this film in the lineup because it's classified as a television film, but I already watched it, so here we go. Fahrenheit 451 is based on a novel of the same name by Ray Bradbury, so another novel adaptation. It follows firefighter Guy Montag in a dystopian future where all books are outlawed except for the Bible, Moby Dick, and To the Lighthouse. Additionally, a universal sort of emoji language is used on the Nine, which is basically the internet. Essentially, in this movie, firemen start fires to burn books instead of stopping fires. Guy becomes a part of the Eels, the name given to those who disobey and read books. I didn't read Fahrenheit 451, so I don't have that insight, but I think the film could have been better. Similar to Without Remorse, I think Jordan did what he could. The movie looks really nice, in my opinion, and the graphics and storyline even remind me of a Black Mirror episode. I know Fahrenheit 451, the novel, came out before Black Mirror, but you know what I'm getting at. However, I think the storyline as it exists in the movie is too fragmented to follow well. The parts of the film that are supposed to add some depth to Jordan's character are so short or glossed over. The death of his father is supposed to be a huge motivator, but we barely get that. I didn't even know he died for a while. Or I didn't even understand the circumstances of his dad's death until I went back and read the synopsis for the novel. So it's hard to get to know and then sympathize with him when he begins to have a change of heart. So now that I'm done with this arbitrary rating system that literally means nothing, is Michael B. Jordan a good actor? Yes. Mostly. Jordan has had some bad roles, but it's not for lack of trying. It's clear that he cares about these characters and these projects, especially since he's producing his own films now. If his performance isn't great, it's usually because the other actors aren't doing great either, which says more about the direction and script than it does about the actor's capabilities.
She ain't say that.
Oh, so I'm a liar now.
Mom, you gotta tell her I love her. Tell her I ain't never gonna
Tell her
leave
yourself. Here.
Yeah, but I don't.
They brought that warrant in my house. They took my wife.
The outlier here is Black Panther, but I feel like you either love or hate the Killmonger portrayal. It seems like Jordan gets cast as one of two kinds of characters. He's either an angry, incredibly talented prodigy, or a humble but successful, really nice guy. This is why my friend considers Killmonger and John Kelly the same. They're driven by vengeance and don't appear to be very layered, at least in terms of the performance. They're really, really mad, and they're both really, really good at what they do, and they use that to kill people. I would love to see him in roles with lower stakes, like that awkward moment. He has the potential to be super funny, and it's interesting to see him do something different and less harrowing. But that's really all I have to say about it. I do think he's a good actor. Most of the time. Yeah.